erythritol had a big thing come out. There's a whole, did you see this? It's just all over social media. You had to see it. Lane made a video on it. Dr. Ids made a video on it.
I was on vacation and then I was sick.
Oh, yeah. Basically, a study came out showing that higher levels of erythritol in your blood have a much greater consequence of cardiovascular issues, whether it's heart attacks, whatever it is. And immediately all these people are like, you shouldn't have erythritol, blah, blah, blah. But then Lane and Dr. Ids and a lot of medical professionals came out, Peter Attia, they were essentially critiquing the study. They're like, there's a big difference between blood erythritol versus if you were eating it. And what they were saying is that if someone is likely to have a cardiovascular event, then their levels of erythritol in the blood will increase no matter what. So a lot of these people might have had a lot of erythritol in their blood, not because they were eating large portions of it, but because they were about to have a cardiovascular event. So they were saying this study didn't actually measure how much erythritol people were eating, which is a huge flaw in the study. It was just solely measuring how much erythritol was found in the blood. And then they said, and these people were also significantly more likely to have a cardiovascular event. And then, Lane and Dr. Ids and Peter T and all these people, they're just like, well, of course that is going to happen because that's what happens before someone does have a cardiovascular event. But that doesn't mean that it came from them eating it. It just means that's a natural physiological response when you're about to have a cardiovascular event. And so basically there are all these other people outside of the science-based fitness industry saying, don't eat erythritol. This is why, da, 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 da. So this is a big thing in the fitness industry as of the last week or two.
It's interesting to see because there's such a plethora of science and different studies and evidence, and many of which contradicts each other for many reasons, people just cherry picking science that fits their current beliefs. And then, pedestaling their current beliefs in the name of science rather than going into it more objectively and analyzing the study.
It's also, this is the issue with having all of this information so easily and readily accessible. I remember, when you and I were just getting in industry, it's if someone was going to cite a study, they almost always read the whole study. Very rarely was anyone cherry picking stuff off of PubMed based on off the title. It did happen, but not nearly as much as it does now. And I think now it happens more because more and more people have access to these headlines, and they're seeing just some random person on TikTok or Instagram show a headline of a research article without actually diving into it, and then they don't actually have the classical training of reading research to understand the flaws of the study design, the physiological responses, all of that, and then they're just making this content talking about the headlines rather than really understanding the science. That's why I think Alan Aragon's research review is the best thing anyone can really subscribe to. Is if you to not just learn about what he's saying. I think one of the greatest benefits I got from Alan's research review was learning how to critique research. I was in college when I joined his research review, which I'm still a member of, $10 a month, and we do not get paid for this. I was in college and I was taking a class on how to read research. They had entire courses on how to read research, how to analyze studies, and how to use PubMed and how to use these different journals and how to sift through them and how to search and how to read all of that. And that was one of the only classes in college that I just aced, and it was nothing to do with what I learned in the class and everything to do with how I learned from Alan's research review. Everything. Just seeing him break down studies and seeing how he understood how to read the research, how to critique the research, the pros, the cons, all of that. It was just seeing him do it over and over and over again taught me how to read research. It was not what I learned in school. In school, I paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for, and Alan Aragon's research review, it's $10 a month. It was Jesus, this is just so much better.
The internet's amazing.
Yeah.